I need you to rewatch the Brand New Day trailer. Not for Spider-Man or his suit. Go back and find the man standing next to MJ and just look at him for a second, because nobody's talking about him, and I think that is exactly the point. Marvel put this guy in the center of Peter Parker's story and gave him no name, no identity, no connection to anything the audience already knows, and then they made sure you felt his presence in every single frame he appears in. You registered him, you felt what he meant, you just didn't look at him. And I've spent 3 weeks looking at nothing else, and what I found changes this entire movie. Not just this movie, everything back to No Way Home. The spell created a vacancy. Everyone remembers the No Way Home spell as the moment the world forgot Peter Parker existed. And that's true, but it's not the whole truth. And the part people miss is the part that makes Brand New Day make sense. Strange didn't erase a name from people's memories, he erased a relationship. He removed the version of MJ that had been built through years of knowing and loving Peter Parker. The feelings, the history, the way she'd grown and changed because of him. All of it is gone. And here's the thing about that kind of loss. It doesn't leave nothing, it leaves a hole. The exact shape of what used to be there. And she doesn't know what it is or why it hurts. MJ has been walking around for 4 years with a Peter Parker-shaped hole in her, and she doesn't know his name. Now think about who fills a hole like that. Think about which character in Marvel's mythology has built an entire career around finding exactly that kind of vacancy in someone's life and stepping into it before they can figure out what they're missing. Mephisto doesn't make deals, he finds open wounds, and he lives in them. What Mephisto does after he wins. In the comics, One More Day doesn't end when Mephisto shakes hands and leaves. The deal is active, ongoing, something he tends because a Mephisto agreement isn't settled until the last consequence plays out. He stationed himself next to Peter's life after the deal specifically to keep the wound open, to prevent any accidental healing that might undo what he'd built. The MCU version is different in one way. Mephisto didn't make this deal, Strange did. Peter asked, Strange cast the spell, and Mephisto had nothing to do with it. But Mephisto has been introduced into the MCU through Ironheart. Multiple credible sources and my own research place him in Brand New Day. And the question nobody is asking is, what's he doing there? Mephisto was there when the spell was cast. He saw what Strange created, a specific enormous vacancy in the emotional life of the person Peter Parker loved most, and he walked straight into it. Not because Strange asked him or Doom sent him, though we'll get to that. Because Mephisto, who was already watching the MCU's hero, already introduced into this universe, would have seen that spell land and known immediately what it opened up. He doesn't need Peter to make a deal this time. He already has everything. The boyfriend. Here's what we know about the man MJ is with in this film. He showed up, he's with her, that's it. The internet has gone frame by frame through every second of this trailer. People have identified background extras, named props, traced costume details back to specific comic runs. And the man who's in the central emotional position of Peter Parker's story, the man whose entire existence in this film is designed to show you what Peter lost, has no name anywhere. No leak, no fan theory with an actual answer, nothing. Marvel knows who he is. Every single person involved in making this film knows who he is. The choice to keep it hidden while making sure you feel his presence every time he appears is one of the most deliberate decisions in this entire marketing campaign. Think about the other hidden identities in this film. Sadie Sink, they won't say her character's name. Keith David, they won't show his face. And the man standing next to MJ, they won't explain why he exists. 3 hidden identities in the same movie, same secrecy around all 3. That's not coincidence, and it's not protection against spoilers, it's architecture. They're all part of the same answer that this film is saving for the audience. And I think the answer is the same person wearing 3 different faces. Subscribe right now, because this is the theory that changes the whole film. Or else I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. 4-year pattern. This is the part that broke my brain when I finally looked at it directly. Brand New Day takes place 4 years after No Way Home. 4 years of Peter Parker being Spider-Man in Queens, chasing street-level crime, never connecting to anything bigger, never catching a thread that leads somewhere outside his neighborhood. This is a man who fought Thanos, a man who's been inside the multiverse, a man whose instincts have saved the world multiple times, and for 4 years, those instincts have been pointing him at purse snatchers in Queens. That is not what happens naturally. That is what happens when someone's managing exactly what you're allowed to find. Someone has been running Peter Parker like a program for 4 years and he doesn't know it. The crime pattern in the Brand New Day trailer isn't the new mystery. It's the visible edge of something that has been running since the night the spell finished. Someone has been feeding Peter exactly enough danger to keep him occupied and exactly little enough to stop him from ever asking why the problems never get bigger. Someone who knows his capabilities, knows his instincts, knows precisely where to put the next problem so he never looks up long enough to start asking real questions. And that someone is positioned inside his world, close enough to adjust in real time, close enough to know when he's getting too close to something and redirect him before he gets there. What Sadie Sink just told you. When Sadie Sink's character tells Peter the forgetting can continue or expand, most people hear that as a threat, a supervillain move, the villain showing their hand. Listen to it again. She said continue, not start, not happen, continue. The spell was supposed to be permanent. One night, the world forgets Peter Parker, and that's the new reality, a fixed point that doesn't require upkeep. If someone in this film can threaten to deepen or extend it, the forgetting has been requiring maintenance this whole time. Someone has been running it. Someone has been watching for the moments when it might slip, when someone might feel the absence and start pulling at the thread and making sure that doesn't happen. MJ is the thread. She lived across the hall, she saw him through a window, she is the person who came closest to the edge of remembering, and she has spent 4 years with a man whose entire function in her life is to keep her looking forward instead of trying to figure out what's behind her. The boyfriend is not a love interest in a sad story, he's a maintenance mechanism for a 4-year operation. Doom and Mephisto. Now here's where it connects to December and why this matters beyond just one Spider-Man film. In the comics, Doom and Mephisto have a history that goes back centuries before the Avengers existed as an idea. Doom's mother made a deal with Mephisto, and her soul has been in hell ever since, which means these two have been operating in the same space, using each other, understanding each other, for longer than any hero in the MCU has been alive. They know how the other thinks. They know what the other wants. When they make arrangements, it's because both of them get something out of it. The Doom that's coming in December is the smartest strategist in Marvel history. He has been reading these heroes for years, working out the specific variable in each of them that makes them dangerous. Tony Stark's variable was guilt. Steve Rogers was loyalty. For Peter Parker, the variable has always been the people he loves. The way connection to other humans makes him unpredictable and therefore impossible to control. So you take that away, you isolate him. You put a figure next to the person who would reconnect him and make sure that figure is yours, reporting back, keeping the wound open, keeping Peter in Queens chasing nothing. You broker that arrangement with the one entity in the universe who has the motivation to maintain it and the ability to do it invisibly. What does Mephisto get out of it? The same thing he always gets. When Doom remakes the universe in December, Mephisto wants his kingdom preserved in the new one. That is a deal both of them make without hesitation. MJ's boyfriend is what that deal looks like when it's standing in your living room making her laugh. The window. Go back to the shot of Peter outside MJ's window. She's inside at a party and she's laughing and he's holding flowers she'll never remember he brought. And every reaction video online treats this as the saddest moment in the trailer, the image that makes you feel the weight of what Peter chose, the cost of the spell. That's not what you're looking at. The man making her laugh is not the reason for Peter's sadness. He's the reason MJ doesn't feel hers. He's standing inside that room doing the exact job he was placed there to do, and he has known Peter was outside that window the whole time. He has watched Peter stand there, and he has turned back to MJ and made her laugh because that is the assignment. The worst part of One More Day in the comics was never that Peter lost MJ, it was that MJ knew something was wrong. Couldn't name it, couldn't find it, but the absence was there every single day, and Mephisto had built the entire structure to make sure that feeling never led anywhere. The MCU version of that is a window with the light on inside and a man standing in the warmth of it making sure it stays closed. Now go back to the beginning of this video. When I told you to find the man standing next to MJ and look at him, you looked at a stranger, a background detail, furniture in Peter's tragedy. Watch the trailer again right now and look at the same man knowing what he is, knowing he has known Peter was outside that window the whole time, knowing that 4 years of Queens street crime and maintained forgetting and MJ looking forward instead of backward all runs through him. And tell me he still looks like a stranger. He doesn't. He never did. Marvel just made sure you weren't looking.